AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead, scan the QR code now. Through every storm, every moment of uncertainty,
everybody needs to pray for Charlie Kirk right now.
Rav has stood strong.
We're not going to tolerate this stuff anymore.
Turn that anger into motivation to save this nation.
When we are Rav.
We will achieve American greatness. And we are just getting.
This is America's Voice Live.
And welcome to America's Voice Live. I'm Steve Gruber.
The pulse of the people.
We need somebody that's going to hear the people's voice.
The truth the mainstream won't touch.
This guy is, by definition, a globalist.
And the stories that matter.
Rav's own Ben Berquam.
Right up over this hill, we got an armed cartel. I see him.
Live.
Breaking news right now here on Real America's Voice.
Unfiltered.
These people are domestic terrorists.
And unapologetic.
We're here to take a stand for God and country. Does feel good, doesn't it?
America's Voice Live starts now.
And welcome to America's Voice Live. I'm Steve Gruber. It is Thursday, the 19th of February, year of our Lord, 2026. Let's get into the day's top stories. As always, thank you for tuning into Real America's Voice. President Trump signaling that the clock is ticking on Iran, saying that he will decide within the next 10 days whether to authorize military action against the regime. More on that coming up today. Also, at least 2 people are dead and another 3 injured in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, after a gunman opened fire. We know about that. And we're watching Donald Trump also in Georgia. He could be stepping to the microphones here soon. Yeah, he's in Rome, Georgia, where he is scheduled to tour a steel plant and pushes to strengthen American manufacturing. But we have the president on Air Force One from moments ago. Here he is.
Kind of a little bit of a swipe at AOC today. And I was just wondering...
Well, her performance was horrible. I was surprised, actually. I didn't know she was stupid.
So how would you have answered the question that she was asked about whether the U.S. should support Taiwan if they're...
Well, I would have just said, it's none of your business right now, because I wouldn't answer that question anyway. I wouldn't respond to a question like that. That's war. When it comes to war, you don't talk about your strategy. She could have done that very easily. She had no idea. I don't think she knew what Taiwan was. That was the problem. You don't talk about military strategy. She could have taken an easy pass on that one. No, it was not a good answer. Could be death-defying, because I suspect that'll be used in every campaign for the next 30 years against her. It's not a good one, Peter. What do you think?
I got a question about something big overseas today. The former Prince Andrew arrested by the police there, related to something with Jeffrey Epstein. Do you think people in this country at some point, associates of Jeffrey Epstein, will wind up in handcuffs too?
Well, you know, I'm the expert in a way because I've been totally exonerated. That's very nice. I can actually speak about it very nicely. I think it's a shame. I think it's very sad. I think it's so bad for the royal family. It's a very, very sad. To me, it's a very sad thing. When I see that, it's a very sad thing. To see it and to see what's going on with his brother, who's obviously coming to our country very soon, and he's a fantastic man, the king. So I think it's a very sad thing. It's really interesting because nobody used to speak about Epstein when he was alive, but now they speak. But I'm the one that can talk about it because I've been totally exonerated. I did nothing. In fact, the opposite. He was against me. He was fighting me in the election, which I just found out from the last 3 million pages of documents. Yeah, please. Yeah, please.
He said today on Iran, bad things will happen if Iran doesn't make
really bad things.
What will that...
I'm not going to talk to you about that.
What is the goal if there is a U.S. military strike?
Well, we're going to make a deal, or we're going to get a deal one way or the other.
But with a military strike, is it to wipe out their nuclear program?
I'm not going to talk to you about that, but we're either going to get a deal or it's going to be unfortunate for them.
And you said today 10 days. Have you given them a deadline firm to make a deal?
I would think that would be enough time, 10, 15 days, pretty much maximum.
Mr. President, when you have the Board of Peace, obviously there's a lot of countries that you're trying to get on. What countries would you like to see join the Board of Peace the most?
Well, we have a lot that are on, and we have a lot that are going through the process of getting on. They have to get legislative approval, etc. And we've had billions of dollars put up already by the countries that are on. You saw some of the big players today. It's been very successful. Everyone's going to want to be on. Everyone wants to be on. Some have to go back to their legislatures to get approval.
Would you want like China or Russia, any of those guys?
I would love to have China and Russia. They've been invited. Yeah.
Something that got a lot
You
of
need both. You need all persuasions. No.
that aliens are real. Have you seen any evidence of non-human visitors to Earth?
Well, he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. You know?
So aliens are real.
Well, I don't know if they're real or not. I can tell you he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. He made a big mistake. He took it out of classified information. No, I don't have an opinion on it. I never talk about it. A lot of people do. A lot of people believe it. Do you believe it, Peter?
Well, the president can declassify anything that he wants to,
Well,
so if
maybe
you
I'll
want to
get him
make
out
an
of trouble.
announcement.
I may get him out of trouble by declassifying.
We know illegal aliens are real.
Yeah, illegal. Only illegals. What else?
Based on what you've been told, what do you think happened to Savannah Guthrie's mom, Nancy?
Boy, it's so crazy. It's so bad. I didn't like when they were talking about going after the pacemaker and before they even started going after it, they're coming and reporting it. So if in fact they could do it that way, the person would say, well, I'm not going to let that happen, right? So bad things would happen if he not going to let that happen. I can't imagine why they would have done that. And just in terms of strategy, just one little piece, I don't know, but we have to start reporting on other subjects also and see what happens. It's a very sad situation.
And with Iran, if the whole point
I have to take off. I'll come back.
Thanks.
Right?
Yeah, thank
Or do I have to? Maybe I don't have to. Have a good day. Thank you.
I think you have to.
Sit down.
There you have the president on Air Force One just a short while ago. Asked some important questions. Aliens real or not? Says, I don't have an opinion, but that was classified information being released by Barack Obama. So there's a bit of a revelation. And he's also still concerned about the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie 3 weeks on. He also mentioned Jeffrey Epstein. So let's talk about that. It's high time to look evil in the face and call it for what it is. Maybe I put this off for too long, and if I have, that's on me. But it's time to confront evil here and now. And I'm talking about the Epstein files. It's what everyone seems to be talking about. 3.5 million pages that the president just mentioned, released in the latest drop, that prove without a shadow of a doubt that very powerful people in very powerful circles were engaged in very evil behavior all over the world, some of which I cannot or would not describe here because it's too unsettling. Many of the names have been redacted, many of them victims, but some of them potential co-conspirators, criminals, violent sexual predators, and criminals. And there's big players whose names are out there, like the former Prime Minister of Qatar and the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, and Prince Andrew and Bill Clinton, of course, who sent an Epstein torture video to the Sultan bin Sulayem, a torture video that Epstein said he loved. Or there's this guy, Leon Black. He just one that popped up. He's a billionaire from New York City. He gave over $150 million to Epstein for advice. And according to emails, left a 16-year-old girl bleeding without medical attention after he had raped her and torn her anally and vaginally, then sent her back to New York with no medical attention at all. And that's about as mild as it gets. It gets worse from there. Representative Tim Burchett says the unreleased stuff is so bad, it's worse than anything you can imagine. Here he is.
This stuff that is in these files makes all that pale in comparison. And if you're offered an opportunity to view the pictures or read the files, I would seriously consider not doing that.
Yeah.
Because it will haunt you, this stuff that's in there. And here's the problem. The Biden administration, the Obama administration, these files have been out there forever. And I've said this many times. If they had the goods on Trump, you know that the Obama administration / the Biden administration, because it never really changed hands. They would have had that stuff out there. And this stuff just goes so deep, Benny, and it is very disgusting to me.
It's evil. It's disgusting, as the congressman said. And the American people knew it would be, which is why they have been demanding the release of the Epstein files. We want transparency, but more importantly, and this is important, we want accountability. Like we saw Prince Andrew, the former Prince Andrew now, arrested overnight in England for his involvement with Jeffrey Epstein, because transparency without accountability is meaningless. Meaningless. I'm enraged, as is the rest of America. We want to see heads roll over this, but here's what I'm afraid of. The Republican Party is going to be the only one paying the price for this if it doesn't get its act together. We need to see indictments. We need to see charges. We need to see handcuffs. And ultimately, we need to see convictions, followed by real prison time like the kind Ghislaine Maxwell is serving now. But it may be more harsh conditions, just saying. According to this poll, 94% of Americans believe that Jeffrey Epstein was running a sex trafficking ring for powerful men globally. This is a lot more than an 80-20 issue. This is everyone. This is going to be one of the most important issues this year. Not the economy, not immigration, but accountability, especially for young voters. Ask them, they'll tell you. There was a large swath of young voters who don't consider themselves Republicans, but who are tired of evil people getting away with evil deeds. So they showed up and voted for Donald Trump because he promised to do something about it. Mark my words. These voters will not show up again in November if they don't see some results from those promises. They don't think Trump is involved, got that. But that's not enough for them. They want pedophiles punished severely. They are Republicans and Democrats mentioned in those files, many more Democrats, their donors, than Republicans, but I want to see them all held accountable, every single one. That's what the American public wants as well. Hillary Clinton out there making a fool of herself, a big to-do about demanding accountability over the Epstein files when her husband has mentioned more in the files than I think just about anybody else. But she thinks she can just, deflect and say, well, we don't know anything about that. This is terrible. Listen to this.
Do you regret the links that there have been? We have no links. We have a very clear record that we've been willing to talk about, which my husband has said. He took some rides on the airplane for his charitable work. I don't recall ever meeting him. Did
you ever meet Ghislaine Maxwell?
I did on a few occasions, and thousands of people go to the Clinton Global Initiative. So it to me is not something that is really at the heart of what this matter is about. They are accused, and in both cases were convicted of horrific crimes against girls and women. That should be the focus.
Charitable work, Hillary, what, with 12-year-old girls hanging out half naked in pictures in hot tubs? Yeah, I don't think so. Nobody's buying that. Nobody. And what did you just happen to meet Ghislaine Maxwell at your daughter's wedding? Because she was there, Hillary. Right there in the picture, there's Ghislaine Maxwell. Strange for somebody you say you didn't know. Maxwell gave $1 million to help start the Clinton Global Initiative, too, and yet she feigns ignorance. Please. It's pretty rich for Hillary to demand accountability when she's still married to Bill, who invited Epstein to the White House 17 times, flew on his plane 27 times, and is mentioned in the files more than 1,000 times. The Democrats' calls for accountability, they're fake. It's a political stunt. And here's how I know, because Les Wexner, ironically the founder of Victoria's Secret, let that sink in, being deposed for his financial contributions to Epstein, and it is a doozy. Here it is.
There is no single person that was more involved in providing Jeffrey Epstein with the financial support to commit his crimes than Les Wexner. That is already, as we all know, in the public record. We've also directly heard from survivors about Mr. Wexner, about his involvement, and their concerns as to the enormous amount of money that was essentially transferred over and paid to by Mr. Epstein. To be very clear, we know of approximately over $1 billion, it looks like. It's about $1 billion that was either transferred, provided in stocks, or given directly to Mr. Epstein by Wexner.
Now, this is interesting. More than $1 billion from Les Wexner. He owns Abercrombie & Fitch, Victoria's Secret. Now, we cannot let Democrats hijack this moment, lie through their teeth, and steal a win in November because Republicans let the ball drop on an issue that's important to Americans on both sides of the aisle. Now, it's only February, Plenty of time to get this right, but it's going to take all of us letting our voices be heard. We must be heard. Hold Epstein criminals accountable. That's the monologue. Coming up after the break, President Trump has set a 10-day deadline for Iran to make a nuclear deal. This comes as talks of a possible U.S. strike intensifies and Israel goes on high alert. More after the break.
At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now. Through every storm, every moment of uncertainty,
Everybody needs to pray for Charlie Kirk right now.
Rev has stood strong.
We're not going to tolerate this stuff anymore.
Turn that anger into motivation to save this nation.
When we move together, there is power.
The cries of this widow will echo like a battle cry.
This is more than news. It's a movement.
This revolution of people taking their countries back.
A turning point. A chance to be part of something greater than yourself. Scan the QR code and stand with Rev. The story isn't over, and neither is your part in it. Step in, be counted, be heard. Together, we are Rev.
We will achieve American greatness. And we are just getting started.
Hi, this is Kelly Renee from Northern California Hills, MAGA country. The reason I watch Real America's Voice is for the faith, the family, and the freedom. Giddy up.
Hey, this is SEAL Team from Missouri. I like Real America's Voice because it's real news for real people, and it's real good.
All right, President Trump signaling the clock is running out on Iran right now. The president urged Tehran to come to the table, saying he could decide within 10 days whether to authorize military action. Sources say the U.S. prepared to strike as early as this weekend, though no final order, they say, has been given. Meanwhile, Israel has raised its alert level amid reports of possible joint U.S.-Israel coordination. At the same time, Trump announced his new Board of Peace, pledging $10 billion to help resolve global conflicts and saying it will closely monitor the United Nations, reinforcing what he calls a peace-through-strength strategy. Joining me to discuss this is a former CIA senior operations officer and CEO of Tower Strategies, Rick De La Torre. Rick, nice to see you here today. Look, when the president says 10 days, I'm thinking 48 hours. When they left Geneva, they said, we'll be back in 2 weeks. I mean, and it's not, I mean, I'm being serious here, Rick. Every time Trump says, we got a few days to talk about this, next thing you know, he drops the hammer. I think the hammer's coming in 48 hours. That's my guess. What do you think?
I wouldn't bet against you. I know that. I suspect it's in the soonish time frame. Look, obviously, he holds all the cards right now. He's in a position to negotiate to the extent that he feels comfortable in negotiating it. The Iranians consistently say one thing, do another thing. They don't come to the table honestly, and at no point have they made the necessary concessions that the administration's requested from them. It's obviously rather simple. All they have to do is stop threatening Israel, stop supporting Hamas and Hezbollah, and stop carrying out terrorist activities around the world. And usually the West will pretty much embrace them. But instead, they are determined to develop nuclear weapons. They are determined to remain a pariah, and they are determined to keep funding terrorist acts all around the world.
I think you missed one there, Rick. Stop slaughtering your own citizens. There's another one for the list, isn't there?
Of course. Of course. I will say one thing, with the recent round of protests, that was one of the things that Trump really underscored with them. And you saw how very quickly the Iranian regime replied and responded to them. And interestingly enough, about those protests, one of the things that really caught my eye was, for the first time, the amount of folks out in the streets risking their lives and vocally calling for the removal of the regime and, in fact, the return of His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince of Iran, which shows that they have really had enough over there.
Yeah, Reza Pahlavi standing in exile, waiting to come back potentially. It was no cakewalk under the Shah prior to the revolution in 1979 for a lot of Iranian citizens. But it was far better than what they've been dealing with recently. Look, it's the biggest buildup of U.S. military strength since 2003. I don't think they're being put there just for show. Real quickly, we're watching the president walk into the steel company there in Georgia. We may have to jump out of this, Rick, but what are your thoughts?
No, I agree completely. If we learned anything from Venezuela, this president doesn't bluff. If you're going to this extent, this level of attention, there has to be a resolution at the end of this, whenever that is, whether it's in 10 days or 48 hours.
Absolutely true. We're going to go ahead and toss to Donald Trump. He seems to be in a lunchroom area with these workers at Husaw Steel Corporation, Georgia. Here he is.
Those people back there, they have all those beautiful hamburgers.
Almost 100 years.
My dad started.
Wow.
1928. I took it over in 1983.
Wow.
And now passed it on to my son and my son-in-law.
Very good. Look.
It's a good looking fit. I have a grandson working.
You have great loyalty over here, too. All loyal people. Oh, look, Trump was. She's a captain. We went big in Iowa, right? We were up in, all those captains were up in Iowa. And we had a great race. We had a great race period. We had 3 great races, you want to know the truth. And they came in, they took all those ballots, all those crooked ballots were taken. Let's see what happens. And the Democrats are fighting like hell. They don't want anyone to see those ballots. Did you see that? Let's see what happens. It's a disgrace, but what are you going to do? We're cleaning it up. Who likes voter ID? Yeah! Who likes proof of citizenship? Yeah! No mail-in ballots, except for military, illness, disability, or like you're on vacation.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
No mail-ins, you get thrown into the river, right?
No.
We're gonna clean it up.
You like Clay Fuller?
Who likes Clay Fuller? Come on over here, sister. Come on over here. Clay Fuller's doing good.
Yes, sir, he is.
You had about 400 people running for the seat, right? I've endorsed Clay.
I know you have.
And I hear great things about him. I've heard really good. So, are you all for Clay?
Yeah!
Candidates, right? But I hear you're doing great.
Thank you, sir. We're going to win. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Our mom and dad are here, too.
Come on, Mom. Get over here.
Mom and dad, come on.
Come on, Mom and Dad.
Mom and dad.
Mom and dad.
Come on, this is Mom.
Much younger. How are you? He's always doing a good job.
Thank you.
We're up here to endorse him, make sure everything goes good. And we also have a really great lieutenant governor, you know that.
Yes. Right.
We're all for Bert, right? Bert's doing a good job. But he's here, so please.
I'm right here. I'm right here.
our quarterback. Get over here. NFL prospect? Yeah. Well, nowadays he doesn't have to be. He can stay in college. Not a bad, doing a good business right now. And you know what we have here? Kelly Loeffler, small business. One of the greatest of popular we have. Are you even getting out with my chief of staff? Your father was Pat Summerall, not bad. You wouldn't know Pat Summerall. He's pretty good, right?
Yeah, he's great.
Anyway, good. Well, let's get on to it. What am I doing? Am I doing an interview here with some wonderful sportscaster that I hear great things about? Who the hell, do you think Biden would do this? I don't think so. Think Biden would talk about the NIL? He has no idea what it is. Are you ready? I'm ready. Let's go. Let's go. I'd like to have a little hair and makeup. How about a little hair and makeup? A little windy out there. Look at the arms of this guy. You gotta be kidding.
All right. The president making his rounds there, taking a few pictures, answering a few questions, you know, being Donald Trump. All right, so trans violence has been on the rise in recent years. From 2018 to 2025, 17 people murdered, nearly 50 wounded, and the numbers are climbing. Last weekend's totals in Rhode Island saw 2 more killed, 3 wounded. Canada saw 8 murdered, 28 wounded, excluding the shooters, of course. This problem doesn't seem to be going away. Here to discuss the possible causes and the solutions, Texas District 6 candidate for Congress and law enforcement officer Brian Stahl. Brian, nice to see you.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
I saw this graphic. You might have seen it too. In 1950, we had less than half the population in America we have today, and yet we had 600,000 people in mental institutions in 1950. Fast forward to today, our population is almost 350 million people, and we have less than 100,000 people in mental institutions today. They were basically all shuttered beginning in the 1950s because of the ACLU. Anybody wants to look it up. It's not a good path to be on, Brian. We've got people that are obviously dangerous. We're coddling mental illness, and the results are horrendous. Your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And we're seeing an upward trend of, transgender, mental illness patients that are committing these heinous and violent crimes. And it's something that we really need to explore, and something that we really need to try to put a lid on. And I've seen it over the last 21 years in my professional career as a law enforcement officer. And when you start to recategorize people, it's pandering to, certain populations. And I think that we really need to take a look at what it's going to take to make sure that these people get the help that they need and they aren't able to commit these heinous crimes. And I think we've really fallen short as an entire country when it comes to this by reclassifying certain things as not mental illnesses when clearly they are.
Yeah. When you look at your run for Congress, you're talking about people. Obviously, that's an issue for people, but it's certainly not number one. 2 things have come into focus. Number one, the economy, which I think will play a big role. But the other thing we've been talking about here for a while now, the Epstein files. The young voters that turned out for Donald Trump in 2024 in big numbers apparently are demanding that there are actionable investigations, meaning people get arrested, people pay the price for being, well, if you've read the Epstein files, for being pedophiles and worse. How important do you think it is for this administration to start pursuing arrests against some of these people that are named in these files, especially for young voters in places like your district?
It's very important. And it's one of those things where you're right. President Trump ran on this and he promised to, release all the Epstein files. The biggest problem that I hear when I'm out on the campaign trail is people want to know the truth. They want transparency and accountability, and they feel like what they're getting right now is kind of a fluffed up version of the truth or a partial truth. And some people believe it's not the truth at all. So I know that Pam Bondi has made comments that if we were to prosecute everybody, the whole system would collapse. And if that's the case, then maybe we need to reset. It's one of those things where there's a lot of people out there that are involved in this that have done horrific things to children, and they've victimized several people, and people are really starting to pay attention to that. And they know a lot of the things that are going on because of social media, because of a lot of the stuff that's come out recently, and they want people held accountable. And I agree with them 100%.
Yeah. Maybe, and I said this as well, maybe Pam Bondi is not the right person in the job at this point, because during the hearing this week, she decided to talk about the Dow at 50,000. 25-year-old people generally don't care about the Dow at 50,000. They care. The transparency part's nice. It's the accountability part they want. And maybe it's time for somebody like Eric Schmidt, the senator from Missouri, a former attorney general there, to step up and drop the hammer. A lot of people are done with Pam Bondi. I don't know where you are on that, or if it's something that's part of the conversation when you go out and shake hands, but what are your thoughts?
It's not really part of the conversation, and I get it. People want the accountability thing, and so do I, but you can't have accountability without transparency. And I think that we need to do a better job of exposing everything that's come to light. And we need to make sure that the general population is educated when it comes to these things, so they can make a decision on how they want to pursue these. Again, I'm all for transparency and accountability, but you can't have one without the other. You can't be transparent and not accountable, or accountable and not transparent. So we really need to focus on pushing both of those things. We need to make sure that the American people are educated when it comes to, what's been going on with elected officials within this, within the country, and as well as other countries, and how it affects our country in moving forward in the future, and what it's going to look like for us if we were able to really hold all these people accountable, because it could be a gigantic undertaking for us as a country if a lot of things come out that may come out, or what I've heard may come out. It's one of those things where it could be detrimental to the country. But I think a lot of the people are ready to take that big leap of faith, and they're ready to make the change. And they want people that really truly believe in transparency and accountability, and holding all people accountable, especially elected officials. We're no better than anybody else. We're not. We need to be held to the same standards. We need to be held to the same level of accountability. And I firmly believe that, because, you can't expect the general population to act one way, and then there's rules for thee and not for me. I do not agree with that at all. And I think that's something that, people are really starting to pay attention to.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that, Brian. And I would say that it's pretty clear that people don't want sexual criminals running their government. We've seen that in the UK, surprisingly, and hopefully we'll see some of that here. I appreciate you stopping in. We wish you well in your run for Congress.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. All right, international disputes, inflation, rising national debt, digital currency. There's a never-ending list of reasons gold has risen over 700% over the last 20 years, and a never-ending list of reasons smart Americans diversify a portion of their savings into precious metals with Birch Gold. More than any other commodity on Earth, gold thrives during uncertainty, which is why it's a crucial part of a balanced strategy. It gives you peace of mind given all the events that could impact the U.S. economy. See if holding gold in a tax-sheltered retirement account is right for you, too. Birch Gold can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold. Just text America to the number 989898 and receive your free information kit on gold. No obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, Birch Gold can help you diversify with gold so you too can have peace of mind regardless of what's going on. Text America to 989898. Again, text America to 989898. Find out today. Learn more. Coming up after the break, President Trump is on the road, as we just saw, in Rome, Georgia, where he's scheduled to tour a steel plant there as he pushes to strengthen American manufacturing. Details coming up.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today. Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with this Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Most people know the biblical story of David, the shepherd boy who fought Goliath and became king. Well, Angel Studios has created a new animated film called David that tells the story of Israel's greatest king.
There's a light I've always followed when I'm looking for the way, when I'm searching for the answer, in the moments I'm afraid. There's a whisper in the wind, and a story in the sky, when I'm looking for a lantern to illuminate the night. If you want the secret of freedom and feeling alive, you gotta follow the light. Follow the light.
For those who love great animated classics like The Lion King and Prince of Egypt, David is an awe-inspiring animated musical that depicts David as a spirited boy who fought lions, giants, and even betrayal, depicting how one boy's faith could lead him to be king of Israel. David will be released in theaters just in time for Christmas on December 19th, but your family can get a head start by watching the prequel to the film, Young David, which is streaming exclusively right now.
President Trump, as you know, on the ground in Rome, Georgia now, where he's going to be talking about the blue-collar comeback of manufacturing. The president will tour the local factory floor at Coosa Steel Corporation. It's happening in the next few minutes. He'll meet with some workers, business leaders, as he spotlights his administration's push to strengthen American manufacturing. Joining me to discuss this, RAV correspondent, host of Breaking Point, David Zier, who is on the ground there inside the factory. It looks like. David, how are you? What do you expect?
Hello, Steve. Good afternoon. President Trump returns to Georgia, and our chief White House correspondent, Brian Glenn, just sent me over a press release saying that the White House saying that Trump is delivering real relief for families with much more on the way here. And he's visiting Coosa Steel, a high-performance steel company here in Rome County in the 14th Congressional District, MTG's former seat here. And Trump will be talking about the economy, probably Iran, but also about possibly endorsing D.A. Clayton Fuller for the U.S. House race special election on March 10th, right around the corner. And there's 18 candidates in there. Colton Moore, Clay Fuller, Jim Tully and Tom Gray seem to be leading the pack for now in better results in a straw poll, but only the top two vote getters, if there's no majority, will go off in a special runoff on April 7th. And then, of course, that's just to fill the seat until the end of this term. But then you have the midterm primaries in May, where you can have a big field again running. And November 3rd will be the general election. Let's see if the Republicans can hold on to the House here. This is a plus 19 district, Steve. 70% of the voters in the past few presidential elections voted for Donald Trump.
So a strong district for him. Winning the primary means winning the seat, is what you're telling me, David.
Yes, it's a strong district for him, and, the policies here, I just interviewed Mike Collins, the 10th District Congressman, who's been a surrogate for Trump on the road for many years. He's also running for U.S. Senate in a three-way primary right now in May for Georgia. But, he's saying, because I've been covering the Pentagon, rapid capabilities, putting stuff in the hands of warfighters quicker at speed and scale, and cooperation with private industry. Georgia's a big defense contractor state. Lockheed, Martin Marietta, big companies here, and he sees that change under Trump, defense acquisitions in real time to face real-time threats. So the general mood is, from my man on the streets outside with the residents here, from in and outside of the 14th district, is the economy is getting better. Now, gas is still $2.70 a gallon. It's got a long way to go, but it's down 40%, as the White House claims, from the highs under Joe Biden. And more is going to come, and they were just talking on stage about how the Feds possibly will lower interest rates again. And
we'll
they've got to be in that 4 or 5 range for kids to be able to buy a home. We'll see, right?
Yeah, we'll see. All right, David, thank you for that. We'll be checking back with David throughout the afternoon after the president makes his remarks. Now, joining me now to discuss manufacturing is the author of Manufacture Local, John Gardner. John, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
Onshoring manufacturing, we've seen it. China is losing a General Motors plant, a small SUV coming back to the United States. John Deere announcing a new plant in North Carolina. Ford Motor Company building a new plant in Tennessee. Those are some examples. Those are all good news. But is it enough? Is it really happening fast enough and big enough to help out the American economy and, our blue-collar workers?
I think it's happening so fast that metal suppliers can't keep up. We heard and found out that America produced more steel than the number 3 steel producer in the world, Japan. They produce about 80 million tons of steel a year. We produce 83 million tons. Japan only uses about 50 million domestically per year. America uses 100 million. So as we get all these new factories going and new home construction, and I believe even Rolls-Royce is planning on possibly moving their facilities from the UK to here, we're going to be using a lot more steel. And I love seeing President Trump at a tier 2 steel processor like Coosa, because right now how the public pictures steel is the big mills with the molten lava pouring out. That's a tier 3 supplier. Coosa is a tier 2. They take the big ingots and the slabs, and they bring them down to size, and then send them to a tier 1 steel supplier who creates finished items like this, which is like a flange, which then goes to an OEM, original equipment manufacturer, which goes into assembly. And so, showing attention to the tier 2 suppliers of our whole manufacturing ecosystem, I think shows that President Trump is really focused on the whole ball of wax, the whole ecosystem that we have going on, and that it's not just steel production or just the bottom line. It's everybody in between. That's where the job growth is created, and I do believe it's happening very fast. Tariffs take time, and I think what President Trump has done in a record time in a year to create all these projects lined up is incredible, considering we had 55 years of deindustrialization. So it's very exciting times, I think.
Out how that plays out. Of course, the Supreme Court could knock back several of those tariffs, if not all, but we also know that there's a plan to make them more specific so the tariffs will still be there. It's not a lost cause. John, I got to leave it there for today. John Gardner, greatly appreciate you stopping in. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Travis.
All right, now before we go to break, I have some news from Real America's Music, a brand new track titled Truth Bomb from the Ram Collective, the Truth Bombers. Not only that, but more music and even full albums are coming your way from the Truth Bombers and Real America's Music very soon. So be sure to continue to tune in to Real America's Voice for all the updates. Here's a sneak peek of Truth Bomb as we head to the break.
Yeah. They feed you headlines, cut the frame, say it loud enough, call it fact. Change the words, dodge the blame, sell the lie, then double back.
From Real America's Music, the label that brought you Anthem of the Free, The Boss, and Somali Waltz, comes a brand new anthem built for a distrustful age. Truth Bomb by the Truth Bombers. Talks about distrust of institutions, media manipulation, shifting government narratives, big tech censorship, cancel culture, and ideological silencing. The culture needs a truth bomb, and this track delivers. Pre-save it now. Scan the QR code or search Truth Bomb by the Truth Bombers on iTunes. We've broken records before. Let's do it again together.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shopped. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today. Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with this Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Most people know the biblical story of David, the shepherd boy who fought Goliath and became king. Well, Angel Studios has created a new animated film called David that tells the story of Israel's greatest king.
There's a light I've always followed when I'm looking for the way, when I'm searching for the answer. In the moments I'm afraid, there's a whisper in the wind and a story in the sky. When I'm looking for a lantern to illuminate the night. If you want the secret of freedom and feeling alive, you gotta follow the light. Follow the light.
For those who love great animated classics like The Lion King and Prince of Egypt, David is an awe-inspiring animated musical that depicts David as a spirited boy who fought lions, giants, and even betrayal, depicting how one boy's faith could lead him to be king of Israel. David will be released in theaters just in time for Christmas on December 19th, but your family can get a head start by watching the prequel to the film, Young David, which is streaming exclusively right now.
All right, there is serious concern over chemicals and contaminants that are in our drinking water. We see in the news all the time. The nationwide testing has clearly proven the presence of these contaminants and how they're responsible oftentimes for health issues, even diseases like cancer and maybe some other things too. Here to weigh in on this very concerning issue is home improvement expert Skip Bedell. We've watched him for years helping families on the hit TV show Catch a Contractor. And for the last 10 years, he's appeared hundreds of times on the nation's biggest news shows as an expert contributor on how Americans can improve their homes and, most importantly, how they can keep themselves safe and healthy. Skip, nice to see you again. Thanks for being here.
Hey, Steve, thanks so much for having me.
Always good to have you. Look, water purity. I mean, we hear about it all the time. We see people having problems with their water for a variety of reasons. How concerning is it?
You know, Steve, it's critically concerning. I think people really are downplaying it and then just not educated to the point of really knowing what's in their water. And when you find out and you go down that rabbit hole, so to speak, it is quite troubling. We're finding nationwide testing that's showing high levels of the things we've heard about, the lead, the mercury, the arsenic. We've been hearing about these things like lead poisoning and all sorts of contaminants in the water all the way back to the Aaron Brockovich days, right? But now we're seeing big spikes in these levels of forever chemicals, the PFAS or the PFAs. These are big problems because these have been confirmed to cause cancer. They're showing up nationwide in every state. In fact, they're even showing up in the blood tests of Americans now. So these chemicals are getting into our water supply. And, you know, it's too much to filter out all these things at the municipal level. Over 50,000 water municipalities across the country have issues with trying to filter out all of these contaminants and highly toxic chemicals. So it's really at a point to where we have to be proactive and we got to do something on the home level ourselves to take care and protect our families.
Well, what about the folks that drink bottled water? I mean, that should help mitigate the problem, shouldn't it?
You know, it's funny that you brought that up because I brought along just a plastic bottle. You know, a lot of people are under this false sense of security that if they don't drink the water from home, that they don't have to worry about any of the things that are in the water because, you know, I don't drink it, or maybe I have a filter underneath my kitchen sink or the refrigerator, so we're safe. Even the bottled water, you know, bottled water is basically just municipal tap water has gone through reverse osmosis filter, put in a plastic bottle, and of course, over time, the chemicals that are in the plastic, we all know about that. You know, you never put the plastic containers in the microwave. Heat disrupts the plastic and chemicals can leach out. Over time, the plastic is really not good. It degrades and it's not as healthy as you think. But the bigger problem than the plastic in the bottle, Steve, is that people think by not drinking their water at home, they're safe. And the reason why that's not true, and I've mentioned this so many times before, it's kind of shocking when people hear it for the first time, is that our skin absorbs all those chemicals in the water, believe it or not, far more than we ever could just by drinking it alone. Our skin is the largest organ on the human body. It acts like a big sponge. And when we take a 10-minute shower, your skin is absorbing all those chemicals right into your pores, bypassing your digestive tract, going directly into your blood, even standing there and inhaling the vapors going into your lungs. All the things you're worried about, the PFAS and the chlorine and the lead, all those things now are going into your body, into your bloodstream. So the biggest problem is not so much that we drink, believe it or not, it's all the contact that we come in with water. You know, we're washing with it. We use it for everything. Cleaning, brush your teeth, wash your hands. Every time you come in contact with water, whatever is in that water is absorbing into your body. And that's why I tell people it's so important on your home level. You got to filter all of the water that comes into your house, not just the water that you drink, every bit of it.
Well, that makes sense. So if home filters that we have out there don't work and bottled water isn't going to help us, what do you have for us that will?
Well, so after doing the research on this topic for my own family, Steve, you know, being in the industry for many, many years, the home improvement contractor for 25 years, I've installed so many different types of systems for other people, everything from water softeners to filters and all different brands and types and you name it. And I started doing a lot of research on this years ago for my own family when these problems concerned me. How do I keep my family safe from these contaminants? Especially when I found out that the thing we think is the safest, like, you know, showering, is actually the thing that can be one of the biggest problems. So going down into the research of whole home water filtration systems, this is the system that I have in my own home. This is the Freedom water filtration system. It's a whole home water filter that basically filters every drop of water in your home. So the water passes through this filter and it comes out the other side and returns to your home, filtering everything, giving you alkaline drinking water from every faucet in your home.
All right, so let me ask you this. How do people get this whole house water system right now?
Well, so if they go to freedomwatersystems.com, it's a great time to get one of these systems right now because they're running a special. They have a discount. If you go to skip26 on the promo code at freedomwatersystems.com, you can get $1,000 off right now for RAV viewers, Steve. So there couldn't be a better time to get one of these whole house water filters from Freedom than right now.
Skip, always appreciate it, my friend. Thank you for the heads up. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for having me, Steve. Have a great day.
All right, you heard it right here, folks. Go to freedomwatersystems.com right now. Use the promo code SKIP26. You'll receive a $1,000 discount right now. Again, that's freedomwatersystems.com. Pretty easy, right? freedomwatersystems.com. Promo code is SKIP26. You'll save $1,000 right now. And don't forget to check out skippadell.com as well for more information. After the break, we'll have a story that reminds us of just how wonderful America is, plus answers to the America's Voice question of the day. What specific steps should federal authorities take next to ensure accountability in the Epstein case? Your answers when we come back.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shopped. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today. Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with this Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Most people know the biblical story of David, the shepherd boy who fought Goliath and became king. Well, Angel Studios has created a new animated film called David that tells the story of Israel's greatest king.
There's a light I've always followed when I'm looking for the way, when I'm searching for the answer. In the moments I'm afraid, there's a whisper in the wind and a story in the sky. When I'm looking for a lantern to illuminate the night. If you want the secret of freedom and feeling alive, you gotta follow the light. Follow the light.
For those who love great animated classics like The Lion King and Prince of Egypt, David is an awe-inspiring animated musical that depicts David as a spirited boy who fought lions, giants, and even betrayal, depicting how one boy's faith could lead him to be king of Israel. David will be released in theaters just in time for Christmas on December 19th, but your family can get a head start by watching the prequel to the film, Young David, which is streaming exclusively right now.
All right. Well, President Trump back at it, shaking hands and talking to the folks in Georgia. Here he is.
Wow, that's pretty good. But I don't want his name on there. So can you help me out?
I love it.
He doesn't want Biden's name on his Lifetime Achievement Award. Yeah. It's a very good choice. No problem. Mine's not an auto pen. This is. That's an auto pen. See that? You know that's an auto pen. See, that's an auto pen. You want me to cross it off? Yes. That's it right there. That's an auto pen signature. That's it. You think he signed it? He didn't sign that. Crazy, man. That's a lifetime. Crazy stuff, right? That's crazy. I don't know how he did that. Auto pens. It's insulting if you think about it. Okay, now you have a real Lifetime Achievement Award. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, sir. Thank you, Chris. See you at the next event. Do we like the fake news? Yeah. Huh? I'm not so sure. If they go, no, we don't. So far, you've been very fair. You've been very fair, yes.
I'd like to shake your hand, sir. I'm the mayor of Rome.
You can shake my hand.
Thank you, Mr.
President.
Thank you.
Good looking guy, right?
Yeah, thank you. You are too.
Thank you. Have a good time.
Thank you for coming.
Bye, everybody.
All right. He's making his rounds. Seems to be in a good mood today. Is the president there in Georgia on his way to the steel plant now in Rome, Georgia. So he'll be there. We'll have complete coverage of his visit starting tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. right here as I kick off live coverage in Real America's Voice. I do every Monday through Friday with the Steve Gruber Show, and then back here for more coverage on America's Voice Live. Until then, have a great afternoon.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shopped. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today. Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with this Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Most people know the biblical story of David, the shepherd boy who fought Goliath and became king. Well, Angel Studios has created a new animated film called David that tells the story of Israel's greatest king.
There's a light I've always followed when I'm looking for the way, when I'm searching for the answer. In the moments I'm afraid, there's a whisper in the wind and a story in the sky. When I'm looking for a lantern to illuminate the night. If you want the secret of freedom and feeling alive, you gotta follow the light. Follow the light.
For those who love great animated classics like The Lion King and Prince of Egypt, David is an awe-inspiring animated musical that depicts David as a spirited boy who fought lions, giants, and even betrayal, depicting how one boy's faith could lead him to be king